what is sort of the current, American foreign policy posture towards Latin America?
The region, not the region as a whole, but parts of the region, parts of Latin America, specifically South America, had been completely ignored by past administrations, going back all the way to George W. Bush. So it's not that, oh my God, all of a sudden, the US wasn't paying attention to Latin America anymore or to South America, but really that trend has been ongoing for decades. And of course, what has happened during that time is that China has become what it's become. It has interests all over the world, but notably, it has a lot of economic and other interests in Latin America. And at some point, somebody or some US administration, whether it be this administration or some other administration, was going to have to wake up to this because, the South America specifically has this very long economic and political history with the United States. The US has a lot of economic interests in those countries. And yet, it was kind of sort of leaving things to the side for a very long time. So it was inevitable that, the administration would turn its eyes to the region. It's interesting that it's happening at a moment when the US certainly has an economic nationalist discourse when it comes to economic policy, and so do a lot of these Latin American countries, or at least some of the ones that the current administration seems to view as closer to them are countries that are espousing the same kinds of views or seem to be espousing the same kinds of views. The region itself, specifically South America, has had this love and hate relationship with the United States for so long, and now it seems to be vibing on a more sort of love kind of friend type relationship, but not necessarily the case everywhere. So it's really very fascinating to watch. So Argentina has actually been the recipient of lots of love. And the main reason is that the current president of Argentina, Javier Milei, is somebody who is close with a number of people in the current administration, including the president of the United States himself. So these sort of political alliances that exist, who, have like-mindedness, let's say, attitudes with, when compared to what's been going on here in the United States. So these countries with these sorts of leaderships are receiving this kind of, supportive attention. Economic nationalism is a worldview that assumes conflict between national and foreign interests. Well, when we call it economic nationalism, we're assuming that this worldview is playing into economic policymaking, but obviously economic nationalism is usually part of a package. So in it being part of a package, it comes with a whole host of other nationalist views, which do end up affecting all sorts of things, not just economic policies, but national security policies, or anything that kind of falls under that umbrella. So both in Argentina's version of economic nationalism, as well as in Brazil's version, there was a lot of focus on the state being responsible for certain types of policies, but not only that, the state being responsible for creating national champions and creating sectors and firms and companies in various areas of these economies that would really stand out. So a lot of tariffs, a lot of other things to precisely kind of give a jump start to this industrialization process. But the problem is that these countries are so focused in building up these national champions and in sort of placing their national interests against whatever they thought was the conflict with foreign interests, that they forgot that there was actually a whole world out there with whom these countries needed to integrate. And the reason was, that what was striking to us then was how the sort of the nationalist discourse that was taking place in the US, the political discourse, sounded so much like a lot of the stuff that had been done in Latin America in the past. The heart of the sort of policies that are being espoused by not just the current administration, but even the administrations before that, is very, very in tune with stuff that's been done in Latin America, but in particular in these two cases, Brazil and Argentina.